Hey there. Alrighty, so I just recorded this whole thing and then goofed it up trying to play a little bit of Oprah, which we'll get to in a moment, and then deleted it. It was a whole fandango. So hopefully I am even more articulate and it's a better video after all. All right, so this is essentially a free coaching call. I received an email from Jodie and Amber, two college students in Pepperdine. They had 5 questions about what it's like to be a new grant writer, and I wanted to share a response with the girls and also offer it up for anyone else that's in their boat. So here was question number 1. Would you advise a new grant writer to start with smaller grants, or is the dollar amount irrelevant if you allow yourself the prep time and stick to the guidelines? So the answer is heck no. You do not need to stay in the small grant camp. You have the capacity to write much more complicated grants. And there's a couple of things that factor into that. The best analogy I can give you is this. When I was in high school, I took up a job on Sundays at the local Greasy Spoon. So you'd get, 9 a.m. the Catholics are rolling in. At 10 a.m. the Lutherans are showing up. And then you've got the drunk kids showing up between 12 and 1 p.m., right? So you had this shift. It was just nonstop. So many breakfasts going out the door. Then I was asked to serve on Thursday night, and there was no business practically at all. It was so slow. It was boring. I made no tips. And I was so thankful that I didn't start on an easy night, that all I knew was a chaos of Sunday. So the same can go for you as a grant writer. If all you ever know, and my second grant application ever was a complicated federal grant, which I got, but wow, that just set the tone for the rest of my life. So that all of a sudden, of course, as a grant writer, I didn't think federal grants were crazy because that's just what I jumped into. So you are capable of writing complex proposals. That said, here are the asterisks. Is your client ready? And do you have the lens to spot, are they actually going to be grant ready, competitive, and responsive to you? Because you can do everything to stick to your own guidelines. But if you have a client that is not responsive, isn't getting you material quick enough, that's where sometimes you can find yourself into a little bit of trouble, which we'll talk about in a moment. But that's really the bigger indication of just wanting you to get some experience under your belt to start recognizing, hey, is this client and organization really ready to go after these grants? Because I'm telling you, sometimes those smaller ones can be way bigger bears than going after something much larger. Okay, question number 2. I found the significance placed on well-being in the book to be an invaluable insight. What is your preferred and go-to habit for alleviating some of that pressure associated with grant writing? Okay, I brought the go-to habit. I wish I could say that this is just a joke, but I'm telling you, it's like a real thing for me. But when I was writing grants in my first job, they had a little chocolate sipping factory that was right upstairs. So when I had grant application deadlines and I'm working freaking hard all day long to crank out narrative content, my treat to myself was a sipping chocolate with a shot of espresso. And I would not have that drink if I wasn't under grant deadline. So little treats like that can be really lovely. Okay, then the other go-to habit is called the Chiwitzen system. I will link the YouTube video. Supremely nerdy. It's amazing I talk about this in public, but essentially I have a laminated list of habits I'm liking to build. So build a meditation practice, do some morning yoga, in bed by 10:30, walked 2 miles, no alcohol, didn't overfill, like whatever, all the things I personally care about building a better life. And then I have a half-page journal entry that correlates with that. Again, you can just go watch the whole video if that intrigues you. But what's so cool about it is that it definitely gets me on step. So even lately, I feel like I've been really floundering and lots of stress and anxious and chaos days. And I have really come back into this system, and it literally puts me back into shape in 2 or 3 days. So figuring out what is that system, which I think the most important thing you can focus on is what is my morning routine and what is your evening routine. So if your day is bookended with structure and a little system for you, then it doesn't matter what happens in the middle of the day because you know that you've got a dialed morning and evening. Okay, so that could be a useful tip, something that you consider for sure. Just useful anyway for you as a college girls. All right, so question 3, as a first-time grant writer, what is the one piece of advice that you would provide before I embark on the process? Okay, honestly, 2 things. 1, don't go it alone. Go join a program that can support you. Go where someone has been before you, because it will save you tons of time, tons of heartache, and you're going to win a lot more grants. So if you want to join us in the Global Grant Writing Collective, this is a amazing space curated just for you, community coaching calls and course content to support you, whether you're landing a new job or scaling a consulting business to 250K a year. You can go learn more about it. I'll link that later, but you can check that out. And then the other thing I wanted to recommend, I was going to share this in Asana. Let me go grab that real quick. Alrighty, so here is a sample federal grant training Asana board. I put together a federal grant training. It's in our bonuses, and this is how we built it out before. It kind of stripped some bones. But the idea, my biggest tip, is commit to being the best project manager that you can be, because grant writing is project management. If you want to know how to have a career in grant writing and not burn out and enjoy yourself, project management is the secret sauce. And we give you every single template that you need to do this work and not have to go reinvent the wheel. Like, okay, what's every single attachment? Who's going to be responsible for that? What are the due dates, right? Like, I don't need to go into this whole thing for you because it's not even complete, but you get the idea that if I want you community project management, even if you're just a one-person show, start getting comfortable with systems like this so that when you start scaling and working on bigger projects with bigger teams, it's not going to phase you at all. All right. So question, whatever we're at, 4. Using storytelling during the grant writing process was a wonderful addition to the toolkit, as the process can appear pretty overwhelming. So how much time do you typically devote to the getting to know you stage of a project before committing to the story to paper? So not very long, to be honest. So here's an example of a project planning toolkit that was submitted for one of our coaching calls, and it's beautiful. She did a great job. And this simple toolkit, which we give you in the program, will help you gather the information you need to write compelling grant applications. Everything you need, nothing more. Like, here it is. You're getting all of this into one place, right? And it's just amazing how much time this is going to save you. Now, on the specific topic of storytelling, the only way you're going to start identifying gaps in storytelling is to start writing. And one of the best resources I can recommend for this is we're going to rearrange our website soon. So if you're like, it doesn't look that way anymore, well, sorry, but here is Pen to Polish. This was put on by a amazing writing coach, Rose, here. Anyway, this whole thing focuses on the topic of it's not just the storytelling, it's the stats. It's like, what are all those different tools that are available to you to write well? And she has an incredible training on this. I was never trained how to be a great writer. I was a self-taught job. This course changed my writing. So highly recommend. Look, you can go convince your boss to buy it for you. Okay. Then let's see, what was the other piece I wanted to share? Oh, and then we are in discussions with a really cool partner that is an expert on ethical storytelling. So not using someone's story in a manipulative way and doing it in a way that's just it's just the right thing to do. And how do you build up that story bank? So we are hoping to work with her very soon to get that as a bonus training for members of the Global Grant Writing Collective. Okay, resources providing this book are officially bookmarked, but would you suggest any associations, institutes, platforms to continue improving grant writing skills? If you want to improve your grant writing skills, come join us in the Global Grant Writing Collective. Like I said, you can go watch a link. I'll link it below. Like, this is where the modern space is to learn not only about grant writing, but also about business and project management skills, whether you want to go land a new job or build a $250,000 a year consulting business. Doesn't matter which direction you want to go. We want you to make real money freelancing to your first 15K, because that is going to give you real paid experience that you can talk about in a job interview or in landing future clients. So honestly, we built this because the other players in the field are so freaking old school or not comprehensive enough. You can go do your own homework on that. The other resource, though, that I would recommend would be Instrumental. They're a good, solid partner of ours. So we have the best pricing with them that they offer any of their partners, because we know that we are building the next generation of grant writers. So if you want the best deal on that, be sure to ask us. But essentially, love their tool. It's a nice, clean way to do grant database research, but they also do these webinars. So look, there I am. So see, Instrumental's #1 fangirl. It's true. Because it changed everything. I was filming my first course, literally the first one that was horrible. And I was teaching grant research, and then I stumbled upon Instrumental in that process. It used to even look very different, and it changed everything. I had to completely overhaul how I thought about funding research. It's changed everything for me. Okay. So that would be another resource to recommend. And then my third thing would be whatever the niche is that you're passionate about, go get invested in that space. So I was super involved in the American Waterworks Association right out of college, thought I wanted to get into the water industry, went way deep on that. And that was how I built a huge network that has been served me tremendously since then. So if you know that you're really into animal shelters or you're into women's rights, you're into, you freaking name it, right? In the environment, whatever, literally anything goes. Go find that association where those people are, and that is going to do more for you than trying to go join a different grant writing platform besides ours. Okay, that's that. And thank you very much. So I asked Jodie and Amber to leave a review. One thing I have to see is I noticed this was for the first edition. So did you read the first edition? Is that all it's available in Australia? Because if so, I feel bad because that's not anywhere near as good as the second edition of my book. Way better. So if that's the case, let me know. We got to get you that one. But thank you very much for leaving a review. Basically, Amazon has an insatiable appetite for reviews. We can't give them possibly enough. But I do appreciate it more than you can know, but get the second edition. It's way better. Okay, that's it. So there you go. You got your own little private coaching call, if you will. Hope you found that helpful. If you have any other questions, ping them at info@sunworks.org, and hope you enjoyed this. All right, that's it.